So on this episode of What's on the Bench is going to be slightly different. Rather than armour repair, we're going to be doing some armour making. I've got some templates, laser cut here out of stainless steel that I'm going to use hopefully to make a set of relatively rudimentary floating legs for the club. See if we can get them done and make them relatively cheap. I'm going to be doing that using a majority of methods. Mainly it's going to be dishing just to get some shape. I've also got some titanium waiting on a hydraulic press. They're going to be a set of arms. So I'll get you set up, we'll give it a go. Right guys, so just coming back to you, you'll have seen in the time lapse we've started on the first crease. This is the flat pattern that we've started with. So this is 1.2mm 304 stainless steel. I took the measurements based on my legs. I drew this up in AutoCAD, converted it into a DXF so it could be turned into a laser program, and then we've had it laser cut. So it comes out, as you can see, relatively well finished, nice clean edges. The sharp corners I wouldn't worry about because obviously I'll dress those back when I'm done. But after around about 15 minutes worth of work on the flat anvil, which is just underneath here, this, so on this, just a wooden block with a 5mm piece of steel, obviously fastened on. After about 5 minutes worth of work, that's what we've now got. So we've gone from that flat sheet to this relatively crease-shaped object. Now the way that this is done is effectively we angle the piece on the metal and we hit it with a rounded hammer. So you'll probably see many small blows in passes. Start on this side to get it to curve, then on this side to get this edge to start to come in, then keep working your way inwards from either side, and then once you've got the edge profile to where you want it to stop it curling in like a drain pipe, you then work the middle and out from the middle. So I've worked up the middle and out, and in effect you end up with, albeit a not ideal curve at this moment, the rough shape. So it's a little bit flat there at the bottom, so I've still got to dress that out a little bit, but we've gone from that flat sheet to this quiz shape in about 15 minutes. And one other thing is the rigidity that has had added to this piece of metal. From this, that can be bent relatively easily by hand, to this is unbelievable. Now, 304 stainless, which is what this is not hardenable, so you cannot heat treat it like you would a traditional spring steel, for example. The chromium content in it, which makes it stainless steel, makes it very tough. And as you work it, it does harden. So it can go brittle over time. So what I'm going to be conscious of is making sure I'm not putting too much work into this piece and making it brittle overall. Ultimately, if I feel like it's getting too much, I can add a little bit of heat, get it a little bit cherry, and that'll anneal it back again. But this is pretty much done for now. I'm going to move on to the next one so that we end up with two, and then obviously go on to the knees and the greaves. Right guys, so after a little bit more work, probably half an hour or so, we've got the second crease done, or shaped at least. Still some fit and finish obviously that needs to be done. Just gives you an idea of them stood side by side. If we come over the top, you can see, use the square block for reference. You can see the shape. Still a little bit rough in areas, there's a bit of refinement to do, like this edge is a little bit flat, but I've flared that specifically because I need to trim this corner on the inside on each one, just to make sure it doesn't pinch on the inside of the thighs. Well, those curves are pretty good. And that was done just through the use of a rounded hammer, a flat metal block, and a little bit of help from the dishing stakes. The next thing I'm going to go on to now, I'm going to put these to one side. I'm going to try and start dishing the knees. Right guys, so after a bit more work, we've started the form of the knees. I've dished them out using the 3-inch and the 2-inch dishing cop to get to shape. Still very, very rough. They're still not fully dished, as you can see. But what I'm then going to move on to with these is I've got a ball stake and a bigger dishing stake on the way in the post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over the ball stake when it arrives and start to turn these outside edges inwards, so towards what would be the leg, and also round this out a little bit more. But that's the basic shape started. You know, we've got the curvature, we've got some curvature top to bottom this way, and we've got obviously the curvature around. Once then we've finished that off, I'm going to put some stiffening lines with a chisel into the leaf, and then I'm going to belly the leaf as well. But until those stakes turn up, I can't really do much more on those now, so I'll move on to the greaves. So after some more work, taking the greave from a flat piece, shaped it roughly, got the flare in above the arch of the foot, got the ankle element there, and then once I get my stake for the dishing, and I've got the other dish, I'm going to push this side inwards and flare the calf out a bit more, so that that'll then give it that anatomical shape, because at the minute it's a bit of a drain pipe with a bit of a flare here and here. But what I'm going to then do is I'm going to push this material here inwards and down, same here, so we should get kind of that sweeping anatomical look. One more to do, get everything rough forged today, call it a day. So there we have now 2 rough greave forms. So you can just make out the ankle swells on either side. You can probably just see the flare on either one. Over the foot, the ankle swell. Once I've got the stake, my ball stake and my dish, I'll take these in, as I said before, to make them more anatomical on the sides. Flare them out at the top a little bit more. And then refinement in part 2. So this is the result after about 3.5 hours worth of work. So we've got the creases formed, we've got the knees probably first phase formed, in the sense that we've got the shape, we've got some curvature, but I need to obviously dish those more. What I'm actually going to do is dish them and then raise them over a ball stake when that turns up. It's not arrived yet. Got form in the greaves, but again I'll need to raise a little bit more anatomical shape in those. And then once I've got that done, all I'll need to do is obviously figure out the fixings, put the leather on for the points, attach the knees to the creases, and then just add straps. So not bad. Obviously that's the end of part 1. Part 2 will follow once I've got those tools, and then hopefully we'll get a decent set of legs out of this for not a lot of money and a bit of elbow grease.